As we're preparing to go live right now, I'm going to just emphasize that this is an important report, and I think people need to be aware of what's happening in the state of Virginia. So let's see if we are. I think we are live at this point. Oh, great. Okay. So here we go. We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. This is a special live report today. This is Sunday, January 19th, 2020. I was going to do my POTUS report. I think I'm going to do that later because I wanted to really bring to everyone's attention what's happening right now in the state of Virginia. And I wanted to, I think it's something we all need to be very careful about right now. I'm getting a lot of news reports about what's happening and on Twitter, on Facebook, through friends. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. Right now, I'm going to just tell you that right now the deep state has prepared a booby trap throughout Richmond, Virginia, using Antifa as provocateurs and the MSM to promote any and all violence on the 20th, that's tomorrow, against any of the patriots or militia or individuals, who show up, and they're doing this to further their agenda. I have a tweet here from Senator Amanda Chase, who is a senator of Virginia, and I'm going to read it to you because I think it's important everybody is prepared for this and understands what's at stake here. Governor Newsom has, as everyone knows and has heard in the news, proposed, this is a gun confiscation. This is what they're going to start tomorrow. They're going to, they secretly held the vote last week when it was supposed to be lobby day, which is supposed to be tomorrow. So they're supposed to be able to ask for redress of grievance and to lobby for their side. And, they usurped that. They took that ability away from the people. This is treason. This is tyranny, rather, folks. This is tyranny, and you need to be very well aware of it because this isn't the only state it's happening in. Keep your eyes on Florida. Keep your eyes on, I also think it's in Wisconsin. It's going to happen in several blue states, obviously. So this is a message from Senator Amanda Chase. She says, sadly, I am posting this knowing that the governor of Virginia has declared a state of emergency in our state. I want you to be aware of how we are being set up. Does the Patriot Act ring a bell? Does the National Defense Authorization Act ring a bell? If people show up wearing any kind of uniform, patch, or other symbol on their clothing signifying they belong to a militia and something goes wrong, you could and will be held as a domestic terrorist. So understand that they don't care what the Constitution says. They have now created, the Patriot Act. They have now created this ability to hold anybody and deem them as a terrorist. We've talked about this before. If anyone steps out of line, all it takes is one person. It may even be a government plant, a provocateur. Okay. If that plant does anything to disrupt the rally, you could and will be arrested as a domestic terrorist. And I presume under domestic terrorists, you don't have the rights that you do as a U.S. citizen. Okay. So be very careful if you have plans to go to Virginia tomorrow. It will be used to put Okay, the governor, using the media, has already set the stage for this to happen. He has already laid the groundwork to make the entire movement look like insurrection. It will be used to put the rest of the nation on notice of what will happen to you if you resist. They have used the Southern Poverty Law Center over the last 15 years to lay the groundwork. They have labeled us as potential domestic terrorists for a long time now. Anyone who has ever related to the 3%ers, a militia, or just belonging to any patriot group, the groundwork has been laid to brand you as a domestic terrorist. They have gone out of their way since the Obama years to ensure that they had labeled us, but it didn't start with Obama. It started with the Patriot Act under the Bush administration. We are being played by a well-oiled machine. These things have been in the works for many years. They are kicking things into high gear. Military veterans are even listed as potential domestic terrorists. We reported on this when this happened, when it came to our awareness as well, when they published a list of who they deemed a domestic terrorist. And of course, U.S. veterans, military veterans were on the list. But don't do anything. You just sit back and do nothing. Do nothing while this country gets destroyed. I don't know what to tell people. People have to realize what's really going on in our country, and you have to realize we're fighting for our freedom right now from an enemy within. Their actions over the last we were told not once but several times by the current president, it's not me they're after, it's you, the American people. Their actions over the last 3 years have shown you he was right. They are coming for us full speed ahead, and they aren't even trying to hide it anymore. Sic semper tyrannus, keep your hands on a swivel and know what's going on around you at all times at Lobby Day on January 20th, 2020. Everyone be safe out there. Thus always to tyrants. So, I think there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of posts about this. This isn't the only one. There's lots of people. Hi, everybody. Hi from Maryland. Hi from over in London. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and Linda, thank you for being here from down under. That's great. Hey, Slim, thanks for being here. Yeah, that's right, because we're foreign to the U.S. corporation. Thanks for mentioning that, Slim. I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. I also wanted to screen share for all of you while we're talking about this topic. Something that a few posts from Q actually regarding the Second Amendment, and very clear what's being discussed here. Democrats want a disarmed American populace that they can control. And so here Q is posting about this, 2 specific posts. We also have another post here. But before I go on to the second one, let's read this. What happens when people don't conform to their rule? What happens when people cannot defend themselves? Why do Ds, that's Democrats, want to abolish the Second Amendment? Remember, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's in plain English. What did the framers of the Constitution fear the most? That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government. Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute I can't even say this, despotism. Sorry, despotism. Despotism got it out. Thanks. Sorry about that. Okay. So it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. We, the people. So this is the first Q post that I wanted to share. And the second one here has to do with Parkland and the Second Amendment. This is a marker. You have here you have Q posting, and then you have the president posting. Let's see, what was the time on this? 4:23, 5:52. No, it's not a zero delta, but it is. So here you have Q talking about Parkland as a distraction. Parkland was specifically organized and designed to distract. It was a test. Watch the news. Actors are acting. There were reports, I have to say, of crisis actor advertisements looking for this Richmond Virginia area. You know, it's the same old story, same old MO out of the playbook, folks. You know, no power, justice will be served to those playing the game. Guns are safe, trust the plan. Here's the president saying the Second Amendment will never be repealed. As much as Democrats would like to see this happen, and despite the words yesterday of former Supreme Court Justice Stevens, no way. We need more Republicans in 2018 and must always hold the Supreme Court. This was back in March of 2018. I also wanted to screen share a segment of, I'm not quite sure if that's actually sharing or not, but I'm going to go back and reshare it. This is from the National Archives, the Declaration of Independence, the transcript of it. I read a little portion of that was in the Q Post. What were the framers of the Constitution afraid of? What were they concerned about? The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. Okay, so then he listed all of his grievances, right? He listed all of the problems with the government. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble ways, humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. Sound familiar, folks? A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Absolutely. This is what the framers were concerned about. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. Okay, we have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. Kind of how they're doing right now with this fake impeachment. This impeachment is basically nullifying the voice of the people, the vote of 2016. It would nullify the vote ultimately if they succeed. It will nullify our voices. 350 million people, I don't know how many voted, but however many voted in the United States, it would nullify our vote. That they're going to take that away from us. Okay, just to be clear. Let's see. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and the right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown. Did the IRS get that? Did the Serco, did they get that memo on this? Because they're run by the British Crown. These are British agents who are running the patent office, Serco, who controls many things, not just the patent office. They have their hands in everything in the United States. I mean, all right, I'm not saying everything. I'm saying they have their hands in everything that's very important. Okay, so here we have. Let me continue with this. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as a free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts, things which independent states may of right to do. And for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. What does that mean? One nation under God. That's what that means. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So, you know, we're at a very critical crossroad here. Starting to fire bullets toward the deep state. Never step back. I hear you. I'm looking at some of the comments in here right now, and I'm just letting you know exactly. This is a Zionist act, not blue or red, so I don't get why they are using party affiliations. Well, because basically, it is the whole Democratic Party. I'm not saying that there aren't rhinos that are part of it in the Republican Party, but I'm sorry, I haven't found one Democrat yet, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see one Democrat that's not following the agenda for fascism and totalitarianism in this country. We're not even talking about socialism. We're talking about far worse than that, folks. So I wanted to put this out there. I wanted people to be well aware. The militias, this is putting our Declaration of Independence to the test. This is the time in which you have to separate the men from the boys in this country, honestly, and decide, who's going to stand up for this union that we have formed in this country. Because and I don't mean to go out there and shoot bullets. That's not what I mean. I mean that this governor, these tyrants, these traitors need to be removed from office peacefully. So I'm for a peaceful resolution to this. But make no mistake, folks, this is the agenda. This is their intent. They don't want you to have guns. That's right, Frank, Slim. We the people are the true and factual creditors, not debtors. Exactly. Military taking down GPS daily for what? Yes, that's another report. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. For what is a few hours each day until next Friday for imminent missile threat and possible attack on areas, specifically Colorado. I heard Colorado Springs. Yes, I did hear the Field McConnell report as well. I was going to, let me see. I might talk about that a little bit. I'm not sure if Field was talking about, I think he was talking about some of this. Yeah, I can't find my, oh my gosh, folks, if you only knew how much email I get, I'll be honest with you, for those people who sent me emails, just be patient because I get so much mail that I don't get a chance to respond to everybody. I actually can't respond to everybody. I wish I could. Let me see if I can find that real quick. If you have any other updates, folks, please, by all means, put that in the chat box there and let me know what's, what's going on, what you're hearing. I don't know what happened. I wonder what happened to that email that I had. Sherry Ives, Sherry sent it to me. Thanks for sending it to me, Sherry. Although I did see it. It's the Field McConnell report, and it had a transcript, which I liked a lot. So I was going to screen share that from Sherry. Where's Sherry? Is she in there today? Is she out? Is she out there today? She always comes by. We love all our viewers. So, folks, I just wanted to put this out. I thought I would go live because I wanted to make sure that this reached a lot of people. That you should all be really very, very careful. It's a trap, likely. It's set up as a false flag. There were advertisements for that I have seen several now on Facebook. Anybody who posted any of those advertisements for a crisis actors, they're being flagged, and it's being noted on there that it's fake news. Oh, good. Okay. I'm going to share that message in a minute. Well, actually, everybody can see it. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing that. So, okay, someone, knows what documents to use to remove the governor from office for violation of oath. Absolutely. These are violations of oath. A violation of oath of office of public officials. Yeah, I think Field was talking about the baby boomer bomb. Yeah, that's what he was talking about exactly. So he says that the bombs had been found. That's good. Slim, yes, Satan flips everything upside down and backwards. Think mirror. Thank you so much for saying that, Slim, because it's very true. The Satanists blame all their actions on you when they're the liars, thieves, rapists, and criminals. Okay, so I'm going to show that. It's quite true, though. I mean, that's what the Satanists do. They invert everything. Think mirror. So that's how they deceive you. They're deceivers. That's just what they are. So yeah, okay, so the governor did call in the National Guard. There's actually a big fence around the legislative office, the building there, the state capitol. There's the National Guard's supposed to be called in, but quite honestly, if the governor is removed, then where does the power, come from to call that? I'm sure the president is watching this very, very carefully. I do think that that I think the president will ultimately, you know, be there to assist in any way that he is called to assist, ask for assistance. There's a pecking order, there's an order of operations there. I mean, the state has to call upon the president. But if the governor, who's the person who's supposed to call upon the president, is no longer in office suddenly, then perhaps, I don't know the details and intricacies of those protocols and laws, but I'm sure that if there's a lieutenant governor, if there's a the person, I guess the head of the Senate might be the next person. Now we have the senator whose message I just read. She is a senator, so we'll see what happens. People are very concerned about this. I have friends in Richmond, Virginia, and who are telling me that, there's there's a there's a lot going on, and people need to be very careful. Don't be so ready, to if you're going to go there. Plus, if you're going to go, where are you going to go to the bathroom? Where are you going to stay? Where are you going to sleep? If they consider you, a terrorist under the Patriot Act, then you can be held without a right to an attorney. Just realize that this is how this is why we need to get Republicans in and change these laws. Um, so let me just see if anyone else has any other comments about this. Yeah, Renee, I'm not saying that the Republicans, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Republican Party has been involved. We know that the Bushes were involved in this, but right now, at this point in time, uh, all right, Elizabeth, I got it. I'm not going to show that publicly, but I got it. I will contact you, dear. Um, Let me just write that down. Great. I will give you a call, dear. Probably later because I've got another report to do, and then I've got someplace to have an appointment. Yeah. Now at this point in time, this is who it is that we're dealing with. It's the Democrats. I'm sorry. It's who it is now. If we were having this conversation, 20 years ago, then we would be talking about Republicans. We certainly would be. But hey, let's not forget about McStain, okay? He was a rhino. There was a lot of rhinos. There was a lot of traitors within our government. And you're right. You know, but Trump has changed the dynamic of all of this. The president has changed, is a new sheriff in town. This isn't politics as usual. Thanks, Renee. Hey, look, I don't know everything. I mean, look, you have. I appreciate people making comments and bringing something to my attention, and also to clarify on things, clarify certain points of view, and I welcome that because that's what we're here for. That's what freedom of the press is about. So, by all means, right. Right. What happened to Putin? Exactly. Putin, he just Putin had his State of the Nation, and the whole Congress resigned. What the heck's going on in the world? That's what we need to do. That's exactly what needs to happen here. Decentralized his government. Exactly. Announced a new universal income. Thank you, Linda from Down Under. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, I see, Elizabeth. Okay, thank you. All right, I got that. Okay. Thanks for mentioning whose number that actually was that you gave me. Yeah. Well, can he, can you get him out of office through legal papers by tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know how far people are in the process. So we'll just have to wait and see. But what concerns me is that, look, I do know people who are involved in the militia, and I will tell you that, they are hoping for a peaceful resolution. But this is why we have our Second Amendment. It's why we have our Second Amendment, folks. This is, if by force we need to do this, then we need to reclaim our government back from tyrants, traitors. Yes, our world is changing. Just look at the Declaration of Independence and read it, and remember what it says. It's our instructions. And I reported on this not that long ago. The Declaration of Independence, folks, are the instructions to maintain and retain our freedom. Those are our instructions. They left those instructions for us to follow, and we need to follow them. Yeah. This is the point we're at right now. It's a very critical time. It's a very, very critical time. And it's not only the state of Virginia, but this is, this is where the battle is at this moment in time. So that's all that we can say. So look, folks, I'm going to get ready to, when the Republicans take back the Congress, the Fed is over. Oh, you better believe it. That's why they're fighting everybody. And you know what? All the treason's going to be put out in the public. Eventually, look, they don't need the mainstream media anymore. They have us. They have, radio. They have alternative media. They have a lot of other ways to reach people. And of course, the president has. And for this specific purpose, right? The presidential emergency alert system. So when the president needs to communicate with us, when he has to get around the mainstream media, when they refuse to report the truth and what's going on at critical times, then the president will use those means available to him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Elizabeth, they are following the example as we the people. Exactly. And so let's all pray, folks, that there's a peaceful resolution to this. Once the guns are taken away, folks, there's nothing stopping them then at that point from doing anything they want. And I don't mean the government as a whole. I mean the traitors within the government, the corrupt elements within the government. Not everybody in the government is bad. Not everybody in the government are traitors. Not everybody in the government want to work against American people. Not at all. We have an enemy within, and they look just like every one of us. So how do you know? How do you know? And you have Project Veritas out there doing those undercover reports, and they're exposing. That's how you know, because people talk. People just can't keep their mouths shut, like myself, actually. Hey, it's a gift of gab, I was told by Peter Max, the famous artist. It's a gift of gab. But anyway, people can't. Right, the Battle of Athens in Tennessee. Look it up. Thank you, Sherry. Very good. Excellent. They're going to talk. They're going to talk to the wrong people. So when they talk to the wrong, right, state by state, that's exactly how this is happening. But they're going to talk to the wrong people. This is what happened. Project Veritas caught these people, these traitors these socialists working on government property, if you all recall that undercover video reveal that he did. And they were actually doing work against the government while they're working for the government, being paid by the government, by the American people. So this is what we're talking about. Soul Song, our forefathers knew this when they wrote the Second Amendment. Of course they did. That's exactly why they wrote it. Exactly. Absolutely, folks. Absolutely. And on the application on the legislature or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Slim Frank, thanks. Yeah, look, just go to which says Article 4, Section 4 of the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. Thank you, Slim. Thank you, Slim. Traitors, exactly, folks. I just wanted to put this out today to kind of warn people who are planning on going to Richmond. Be very, very careful, because it sounds like a trap. And, pulling that trigger is a huge responsibility, huge. And that could just start a cascade of really unintended consequences. So be very, very careful what you do if you're going to go down there. But I think you have the backing and the support of the American people, we the people. Hi, Liz. How you doing? Charlene. Oh, exactly. Charlene, Thank you for mentioning that. Just another prohibition energy. Won't work. Only crooks will have guns. Can't we learn from the past? Absolutely. Take all of our guns, so only the crooks, only the criminals have the guns. And, of course, the tyrants have the guns. Don't give it up, folks. Don't give up a Second Amendment for anything. And the president has tweeted this. He's never going on, like, it's a constitutional issue. Every state has its own constitution, but that constitution has to be consistent with the United States Constitution. So you can't violate the US Constitution. It's unconstitutional. Look, folks, this is the battle of our country. I'm serious that we are down to the hour at this point. And we are down to the actual, for those of you who didn't know, we've been at war. We're at war. It's been undeclared. War was not declared. But when it's an enemy within, how do you declare war? How do you declare war without letting the enemy know? So we have an enemy within, a parasite that is feeding off of us, the host, and oppressing us. It can't survive and sustain itself without us, right? This is part and parcel concerning every aspect of our lives, from every angle down to our toothpaste. Absolutely, Chris. Our fluoridated toothpaste, that's a neurotoxin. Q has said our guns are safe. That's right. Yeah, that doesn't mean everything's going to go perfect tomorrow. Just don't go. Antifa will be there. Yeah. Marisande, exactly. If Antifa's there, you know what's going to happen, right? They're going to have provocateurs. They're going to have someone's going to shoot the first bullet. But let's hope it's not going to be any of our militia, unless they are defending themselves, their life. I'm not going to tell these militia people what to do. These people know what their role is. But, what I'm just trying to do is, for anybody else who wants to be part of it, or, wants to see what's going on, I think Luke Rudowski from We Are Change is down there reporting live, if I'm not mistaken. So you might want to keep an eye on what he's doing down there. Yeah, it's going down tomorrow. Brian is on the ground at the Capitol, and the state troopers were real sketchy. Well, we're going to have to keep an eye on this, and I'm going to be reporting. I have people down in Richmond ourselves, and I don't have a camera down there, but I don't want them to be in harm's way, and I don't want them to be in jeopardy in any way. Yes, we have the truth on our side. Thank you. Please pray for you guys in Canada as well. Absolutely. Folks, there's people, look, France, how many weeks is this now? How many weeks for these protests in France? It's all over the world. People want their freedom. They are not going to accept tyranny, and neither are we, especially in the country that's supposed to be the light of the world. There's been many mistakes made, folks. I'm not talking about, oh, we're so exceptional, but you know what? We were the hope of the world, and it took a few humans, sadly, to sell us down the river, to sell us out, to take bribes, and to sell the soul of America. They tried to anyway. So there were definitely mistakes made in the past by certain individuals. It's not like the whole, they pulled off 9/11. Everybody in the world was, behind going after who they thought it was at the time. And now we all find out this is a completely different story. So yeah, mistakes were made. And this is an invasion upon the people and the states and militia. Militia is boots on the ground as well as sheriffs to protect us. Absolutely, Elizabeth. Thank you for that. 99% of party contributions come from one zip code, 10005. Yeah, Wall Street or the Crown. You got it. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to close out this report right now. I am going to probably go live in a few more minutes to do a POTUS report. I just need a few minutes to kind of get myself collected here, but I definitely want to thank you all for joining me. I will be back live in a few minutes to do another POTUS report. So stay tuned. Yeah, the golden age is coming. Well, yeah, but we're going to have to definitely, there's some birthing pains. In order to have that golden age, to birth that golden age. We're going through some labor pains, some birthing pains to get there. So Slim says, from what I understand, the UN was recruiting crisis actors and false flag operators. Yes, they were. I saw that. Trump and white hats are shutting down GPS satellites as a countermeasure. Discern yourself. Do we have a PayPal? Yes, we do. The PayPal, actually, it's let me see if I can give you the link to that. Yeah. What? Oh, I spelt my website name wrong. Hold on. I must have spelt it wrong again. Yeah, I don't have reading glasses on. Okay, I should work this time. Yeah, it does. Okay, I'm going to click on the PayPal button, and I'm going to put the link in the, and I appreciate if you want to make a donation. Thank you. That's very kind of you. You can put that right here in the chat. And I also wanted to screen share. I wanted to leave you all with, this is the PayPal. Thank you. I also wanted to, as we started out, as the senator was mentioning, this is what the president has been trying to tell us for quite some time. In reality, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. President, this is what the president's telling us. He's been saying this. He said this in his rally. If people remember, in his rallies, recent rallies, this is what the president has said, and he is standing in the way. The president is trying so hard to protect us. So how is Winston doing? I'll tell you, I miss Winston a lot. I think his spirits are okay considering the circumstances he's in. And I don't have any direct communication with Winston, but from what I'm hearing, he's, you know, I, he's not in that FEMA camp anymore. It was what I call a FEMA camp. It was not a good place for him to be. He was transferred out. But it looked like they were rounding up other patriots, other people who are standing on our constitutional grounds. You got to be careful, folks. Got to be very, very careful because, the people, the bad guys are still in control of a lot of things. And, we need to learn how to identify them. It's not an easy thing to do. How do you identify that enemy within? Just follow the president, follow what Q's talking about. Because I believe that, I have verified many times. I mean, there's just too many coincidences for it to be mathematically impossible, right? That there's definitely I think it's a military operation. That's just my opinion. Yeah. I know you miss him too. I know. Okay. People are asking about Audrey Ewis. Yeah, Audrey had to have some emergency surgery, actually. He did have a medical emergency. He is doing a little bit better. He wasn't well enough to do our live stream Saturday night, but I think next Saturday night he probably, well, wait a second. What's the date? I have another live stream coming up with Cosmic Ray Keller. Yeah, so Saturday night, the 25th, I think, we'll try to do that. I'm going to ask Audrey Ewis if he's going to be up to doing another Q&A, and that would be really helpful. We had to cancel it, but it was going to be an interesting one. But it's not over. We'll be back as soon as he's recovered. Yeah, Heather Tucci as well, but a lot of people who are trying to do the right thing, and it's becoming more and more difficult. I miss Winston's voice. Barbara, you're so sweet. I know, don't we? We all miss Winston's voice. He was everybody's grandpa, wasn't he? He was everybody's. That's how he kind of looked at it. Yeah, Field McConnell is still in jail, and I'll tell you, I don't really want to talk about what I know about that right now because so far I haven't heard it anywhere else, and so I'm not able to confirm it. But from what I understand, Field, this might have to do with some information that was released that was classified. So if that's the case, then that's why he's in prison. So, if you have classified information and it's classified information, then you're going to, suffer the consequences if you reveal that. Right, Slim. Under color of law, exactly. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to give you guys this update. Look, if you know anybody, please tell them, use the utmost prudence. Be very careful if you plan on going there. We don't really know what to expect. We hope that it's going to be a peaceful resolution, but, you know, we also know that that's not the goal of the other side. The other side is to make it look like an insurrection. So be very careful. And if you have video, if somebody does go and have video, email it to me if you want at the goldfish report the goldfish report at gmail.com. But do not put yourself in harm's way at all. There's real bullets down there, folks, and you could be in the line of fire. Just be very, very careful. And give me any updates if you want. If you want to get something out in the news that you see happening, send it on over and we'll report it. All right, folks, that concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being in the chat with me. I'm going to return in a few moments and start my POTUS report for the review for the previous week, this past week. So we'll start that in a few minutes. Thank you, AG. I appreciate it. We will be back live in a few minutes. So, you can hang on, wait for that to come live and join us again if you like. If not, I'll see you next time. Be careful tomorrow, folks. Be very, very careful, but keep a very close eye. Right. Keep a very close eye on what's happening in Virginia tomorrow, folks. Say some prayers. Please say some prayers for a peaceful resolution. Okay, folks, that's it. This concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. Thanks for viewing.